Welcome back to Black Girl Couch Reviews. I'm your host, Christina. We are back for a season recap of Netflix 3%. Season 3 debuted June 7th, and I watched this from a beautiful beach in Jamaica. I binge watched all 8 episodes. I really enjoyed the season overall. I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of a 10. There were some definitely things that I didn't like, and we'll talk about that. But I'm really looking forward to season 4. If there's going to be one, there better be, or I am going to fucking riot. Before I do get into the recap and review, just some really brief housekeeping. As I just stated, I just came back from Jamaica. I am so fucking jet lagged and tired. And look, I'm not a fat girl, okay? I'm not over. Well, I guess according to whatever systematic chart they have through my, what was that we did? Like kind of physical, but not really a physical. We have to do it through my job every year. And if I sound weird, I'm just letting you know right now, I cannot hear in one of my ears. It's very clogged from the plane, and it has not unpopped yet. And I'm waiting and waiting patiently for it to do so. So hopefully this doesn't sound too fucked up. But man, I'm so tired and out of shape. It's not even funny. Like physically, I do not look out of shape. I don't believe. My sister confirms this. However, man, I ain't got it like I used to. I don't. I just don't have it in me like I did when I was younger. I don't have all of the zest, so to speak. You know, there was these steps, and I kid you not, every time I ate and I had to go back to them steps, it was like I was wheezing. I needed a respirator by the time I even got up the first damn landing. I was like, what the hell is going on with my body? So, and then I slept most of the time. Granted, I was very, very, very stoned. So once you eat from a buffet and you're stoned, the natural thing to do is to go to sleep. But I enjoyed my 5 days away. I enjoyed my vacation, but it gave me a lot of time to do some introspective thinking. And in regards to the podcast, there is one show that's going to get kicked off the roster, at least for now. Right now, I'm catching up on a lot of stuff because it was a little hectic getting out of the door to Jamaica. It's a little hectic coming back from Jamaica. My work is just blowing up. I think I said a few months ago that I got a promotion, and right now it's supposed to be a team of 16, but it feels like a team of 1. And if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. So it's a lot on my shoulders right now, and when I get home, I kid you not, I do not have a lot to give, as much as I thought I would. In regards to the podcasting side, it's not like I'm giving it up or anything, hell no, but I have to be a little bit more selective on what I'm going to watch and not watch based on what I can actually give to that show. So with all of that being said, I'm still keeping Krypton, gonna finish up Swamp Thing, Good Omens. However, I don't think New Amsterdam is gonna get done at all anytime soon. Another thing is, I found out that Freema Argaman, is that her last name? There's a possibility she's not coming back for season 2, and I will be really hella pissed off if I watch this whole 22 episode season and then I get no conclusion with her story and she's gone. So I don't know. I read a few interviews because I was like, nah, that's like the main person in the show. And it seems that is indeed a possibility. So I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon until season 2 episode 1 premieres, and I am assured that she is alive and well, and we'll take it from there, and I will revisit it because I just, I'm feeling still a little butt hurt over Good Doctor, where it's based on a Korean show. I was expecting a relationship to blossom. It had the chemistry. The actors were really into it. I loved it. And then they kind of took a sidestep to something a little bit more mediocre, in my opinion. And it was based on a lot of fan reaction and the type of fans that were watching. And It felt very Fox. So I'm just really not trying to jump on any more doctor shows because it's drama. I think I've said this before, or maybe I was just talking to my girl Cheyenne, and I was telling her that I'm not the hugest drama person. I love comics. I love, thrillers. I love mysteries. I love sci-fi. But when it comes to good old-fashioned drama, it's really not my cup of tea. And if it is going to be my cup of tea, it probably needs to predominantly focus on African American character, particularly a female. So that I can actually relate to any of the drama. And it's not to say that I don't watch anything with that in there. Again, there's just so many TV shows out there that it's really hard to nail down what's going to interest you and keep you hooked. And more, I feel like as I'm getting older, the shows that I'm watching are ones that I can look at and see a reflection of myself in. And without that, it's kind of not that appealing. So, On My Block is going to still be in. I actually watched the first episode of that one. However, I was falling asleep at the time that I was watching it, but I did like what I saw. So, and it's a shorter season. It's got 10 episodes per season. So that's definitely still on. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it before the end of this month. I will try my best to at least get one episode out. But as far as the rest of the schedule goes and concerns, and I'll be a little bit more conscientious of my schedule next month to make sure I'm putting, like, last month was great because I felt like for the most part Black Summer got out exactly when I wanted to, and I didn't put too much on there to get too behind on. And I think I really forgot about Krypton. Even though, I think it was on my list of things that I thought were coming out, and I kind of forgot about it, and I definitely want to do Krypton. So something has to go down, and I think I should keep the shows to like a 4 minimum until one gets done. Because Good Omens is not that long. I think I got, 3 more episodes on that. So that's not too long. And then, like I said, after doing this review, there'll be Krypton, and I think that's 10 episodes, 10, 12 episodes. And then we have Swamp Thing, which is also another 10 episodes. So it's not so much that I'm not still going to be doing new shows or anything like that. It's just I gotta keep it down to maybe a 3 to 4 minimum a month. And I will keep that in mind next time I do the schedule so that I give the proper expectations, because it really bothers the living shit out of me when I don't get something out. But I can't just sit and hate watch just to get the podcast out, because if I'm just not feeling it, I gotta go back to my comfort zone, which is sometimes I just feel like coming home and watching reruns of Death in Paradise, or watching reruns of CSI New York or Miami or something like that. If I get drama shows like that, I space out into that world. And it's something I can do and play Candy Crush, or, I like to color. I just recently got into coloring as a stress releaser. It's actually really cool. You should do it. If you have not colored before, or you think you're too old for it, just go for it. I assure you, just like my onesie I plan on getting pretty soon, I don't think you'll regret it. And it actually really does. It's very soothing, way more than I thought it would be. And I've decided to start buying Barefoot Moscato again, because I let up on that for a little while, and I don't know why. But it's definitely time to get back to my drinking as I take a drink. Hold on one second. Tasty. It's got peach in it. All right, so on to 3% now that the little bit of housekeeping is out. I'm not going to go episode by episode, because I don't even know if I can remember episode by episode, but I will go with the name of each episode. And what did I give this one? 8.6, right? I want to put the score down so I don't forget, because sometimes when I'm doing my show notes afterwards, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't put my score down. But I will give the director and the writer credit. So episode 1 was entitled, not in chapter, Sand, which was directed by Dana, don't fuck this up, I'm gonna fuck this up, Giannecchini, That sounds closer. And it was written by Dennis Nilsson and Pedro Aguilera. Then we got episode 2, which was entitled Scalpel. I think this is my favorite episode, Scalpel. Yeah, it was. I think it was. And that was directed by Danny Labardi and written by Carol Rodriguez. Then chapter 3 was Medicine, written by Dana Giannaccini, again, and written by Ivan Nakamura. Then we got episode 4, Duck. Again, was directed by Danny Labardi and written by Andrea Midori Samoa. Damn, why are y'all giving me these hard ass names to say? Then episode 5, Lever, was also directed by Danny Labardi and written by Dennis Nielsen. Then chapter 7, Trapdoor, was directed by Jotaga Crema and written by Ivan Nakamura. Again, is that? No. I think I said that one already. And then chapter 7 is Gardrone, which really, we'll talk about him. Jotaga Crema, and it was written by Ricardo Goncalves. And chapter 8, lastly, is Wave, was also directed by Jotaga Crema and written by Andrea Midori and Samawa and Pedro Aguilera. So I got everyone's names out, and I apologize terribly that I fucked probably most of them up. So what was my favorite episode? I think I said it was Scalpel. My least favorite episode, I think, was I'm not sure. I'm really not. It might be it could be Trapdoor. There was things that happened in Trapdoor, but there was not. And again, I'm kind of blurring everything together. So I'm going to do this review by character, because that'll be way, way easier. And we'll start off with the one character that is no longer with us. Fernando! So first we'll start with the shell, actually, before I do get into the characters, just to set us up. So we know from last season that Michelle made a decision for the cause after they already had a plan in motion to destroy the offshore. She decided she wanted to create a third option by creating this thing called the shell. She got Fernando on board with that. Joanna fell out with her about this because she kind of felt betrayed, because after Silas died, she became the new leader of the cause. And then we left off our character Raphael, who got to the offshore, but he got fucked over and knocked out by Michelle. So they had a huge fight, Joanna and him, over that. And Michelle ran off. And then Raphael stayed on the offshore with his girlfriend Eliza. And that's kind of where we left our characters for the most part. Ezekiel's dead, and I have never missed him more than in this season. Like, they even mentioned him, and I was like, oh, same. I miss Ezekiel. He was just so, I don't know. He's just like, because I'm really, really not feeling the one chick, Gloria. Where the fuck is Aline? Ugh. That's a whole different situation. Oh no, I know what happened to her. Marcella. I'm not feeling Marcella as any type of antagonist. Like, that's, if I had to go through right now what was the biggest issue of this season, there was really no stakes. Like, we had a death, but it wasn't to anyone we knew or was really familiar with or even rooting for. We had some things that could have been a big death, but was not. Some of the plot moved a little faster than it needed to be, probably because it got such a short order. Because I think season 3 was 10 episodes. Yeah, season 1 was 8, season 2 was 10, and season 3 they went back to 8, which I understand. Because if I get a season 4 and they give me 8 episodes and that's all I get, I will accept this. Because there better be a fucking season 4. I need resolution in this bitch. But yeah, I felt not much of the threat of the offshore. I felt that they were kind of pushed to the side. We got a lot more interesting backstory on the offshore creators, but it doesn't seem like it felt in limbo, that side of the story. The special effects have always been what they've been, but I would say this season they were more glaringly to me, but only on a few things, like Gardroni. Like, I almost didn't even need to see Gardroni. What other things that I thought were really, like, some of the characters are really just the characters were a little out of character. In particular, let me see. Well, Gloria was a huge one. Marco, some of their stories, I should say, accelerated. When I say out of character, I mean they accelerated in a way that it didn't feel organic. It felt very there for plot purposes, and we didn't, like, there's no work building up to it, particularly with, like, Marco and, you know, Gloria. And there were some other characters where I was kind of like, we're just gonna dump this character. Eliza was another one, or is it Eliza? I don't care, but I think this will be the proper time to, because that's where we start the story. Like I said, we started with the Shell. The Shell is this new third option that Michelle, I like to call her Michelle and a few others have cooked up, and it's this place where it's out in the desert, away from the inland. However, it is based on technology she blackmailed the offshore to get, so that she can make this third option, because she's the only person that knows that the founding couple were really a founding trio, and they killed her. They killed the other one. So she found out that secret, and now she's just deciding that she should make this third option in respect of that person. And so she makes the Shell, and it's like a oasis. It has its own thing to create water. Anyone is welcome. It doesn't matter who you are. There's no process. There's no getting in. There's not even the qualifications. But this is what she has started off with. Not only herself, but Gloria, because back to where we started, Fernando has passed on. This felt cheap. I understand, though. It's kind of one of those unfortunate things that, man, sucks that the actor couldn't come back because they had to find a way to write him off. And I think they did a good enough job. You know, he was the son of someone who pretty much preached the process, and he abandoned that, and his disdain, or people disdained him for choosing the Shell or for wanting to go out and promote people to come to the Shell, and so he was attacked and they beat him to death. So we immediately start the beginning of the series showing his wheelchair in a room. That moment where Joanna went by, and stopped, that was the most that was when I felt any emotion about Fernando's death. Otherwise, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. And then they had the funeral pyre, and I'm like, who got his body up here? Like, y'all making me ask too many questions. Why is his body on fire? A lot of unanswered questions there. But so it was really sad to see him go, but I really hated how Michelle used his ass anyway. That was my huge issue with her character last season. And this season, I would say I'm way more empathetic on Michelle, played by Bianca Comparato. She is very strong, and she thinks that she is for justice, but she does not acknowledge her own selfish desires. I think that's the difference between her and Joanna. Joanna genuinely cares about people, but she wants to be a selfish person. Michelle walks around like she's Mother Teresa, but she's really doing it for her own personal gratification, in a way, to say, I have excelled, I am better than, I have escaped the process. Not only that, I have, I'm not going to fall into the same trap of, what happened to my brother and being used like him, because he did make it to the offshore, her brother, and he only went crazy once he found out the secrets, and then he still turned his back on her for the comfort of the offshore and became like an absolute another douchebag in the process. Again, that was another character thing that I was kind of like, what? Like, he just went from like, oh, my sister, to I really just want to beat my sister. But I guess that's part of the thing where she says, when he says we're the same, like, you think you're not the same, but you are. You want your own place of shelter and comfort. You just want to be in charge of it, and then meditate out your idea of justice by letting everyone in, and that means you're not being selfish. So I got a lot more of her character this season. I enjoyed a lot of her character. We start off with her greeting. I guess I could start with Joanna, but I really want to start with Michelle, because Joanna is one of my favorite parts of the whole season. It has been since day one. But she is running this place. I love that she's all decked out, and then she has the choker with the shell on it to represent the third founder, because that's who she's really assumed the identity of. Like, I am taking on the mantle of this third co-founder, which is very egotistical of her. But she's making it work, right? She's got people. She is well liked. She's well respected in the community. I wasn't sure how I felt when she was like, yeah, when I lost Fernando, and I'm like, girl, bye. You left Fernando for the offshore. I don't know. I felt like, again, a difference between Michelle and Joanna. Joanna legitimately made it to the offshore, except for the fact where she would not kill someone. And that was her thing. She would not cross that line. And I thought that was weird, that the offshore seems to want people who are willing to be a little less than ideally good. Because even Eliza's story, even though it was minor, it still was enough, because she knew someone and she used their most interpersonal secret against them, kind of like what Michelle did, right? So I kind of feel like she belongs on the offshore, but not for the same reason. Like, Joanna could have made it to the offshore, but she said, I'm not going over there because I'm never going to be that person. I'm not going to simply kill a man in cold blood, even though it was blanks. Which still, Ezekiel, I never got any fucking explanation about that shit. And I'm so sad we never really got a Joanna and Ezekiel like follow-up conversation, because he just moved on. It looked like he was looking for a agent and he wanted Joanna and then moved on to Michelle. So she's also been under the influence of Ezekiel. So she's trying to take all of that knowledge that she's been passed on to run this shell. And so when all of your peeps that you know to take knowledge from are a little shady, you're gonna be a little shady. But you see her struggling with that, at least. I love that. Who was it? Joanna? Yeah, she calls her out on her shit. So does Raphael, though. Raphael is no joke. Oh, I love him so much too. But Michelle greets Joanna, but then as soon as they seem to come to this place, there's a huge sandstorm, and Michelle gets everyone inside. And then you see this boy run up to her and say, my brother is outside. And she's like, what you mean? And I'm like, who's her brother? It was his brother. I didn't think it was anyone important. Who was it? Arthur? That's what he said, kept saying Arthur. But I think it's Arthur. And Raphael is actually his older brother. So that's interesting on Raphael's side. Then she loses the all-important, what did they call that? The collector? Yeah, the thing that collects water, that keeps everything moving around here. So during the sandstorm, everyone survives. However, she didn't think to retract the collector, and then she could not reel it in, so they lose it, and she takes this really hard upon herself. But she comes out of this being still optimistic, saying, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make, they're gonna try to they try to recreate the fabric, because I'm guessing they got all of this material straight from the offshore, and of course the offshore is not going to give you backup. So she cannot recreate the fabric. She says at first when we see them, the whole storage thing has a whole lot of food and enough to feed them and get them off the ground, but that quickly becomes a problem, and Gloria suggests to her that she should do a process because it's clear that everyone cannot stay at this place. And she goes about doing the process. First, she's very much against it. Like, I didn't make the shell to make a process. And then I love how Gloria slyly says it's not a process, it's a selection. But I will say she did make a point, even though I really disliked Gloria, when she said, you know, this is what we're used to. It's not like, you know, you're putting something out there that we're not used to doing, but at the same time, it's kind of like you sold us on this idea, which I think that's what her little, what do you want to call it, the class clown of the group. I really did. I was not feeling him either. Like, I guess some people would think his character is funny, but I found his character to be incredibly annoying. Who was his name? I'm gonna find it. Don't worry, I will find it. Anyway, he does go up to her and tells her that, hey, I didn't come here to not do the process. I came here to escape the process. I didn't come here to go through another process. And then she, you know, she just like basically fuck off. What was his name? I cannot even remember, and I don't see it in here. That's funny because I felt like he had enough enough of guest lines anyway that he would be in the thing, but I guess not. Anyways, so she makes the selection process, and you think that she's gonna be like, first you think, because Joanna has given her so much shit about it. It's one of my favorite scenes of the whole series is when Joanna's like, oh no, I'm not leaving, bitch. I want to see your ass fail. You think I'm about to miss this? You got like fucked up. The first thing she does though is she says, what happens is that crazy bitch that really does not make for a good enemy. What is her name again? It's too many names, so I'm gonna have to look there by Marco's mama. She comes and offers assistance. She says, look, we like the shell. We want to keep it safe. We actually think we can, to throw insult to injury, to say, you know, we can use this as a place to train people for the process. And we'll give you food and water. Marcella, that's her name. We'll give you food and water and get you back up and running. All you got to do is let us take over. And she's like, yeah, fuck no. Because her brother shows up. And at first she's like, what the fuck you doing in my room? He says, the mat says, welcome, bitch. But he's like, come on, you can come back and be at the offshore with me. Just put all this shit behind. My thing is, and my question was, if these people weren't good enough to get in the process, why would they let them stay at the shell in which the offshore would take over and likely kick them out for people that they think, for kids, right? So she's right to not trust these bitches, but she does not tell the people and let them decide, which is something that has been her motto. And that's where she becomes the dictator. Like, when you sit up and you go, okay, well, I'm doing this for all the altruistic reasons, and then when you have your people starving and some of them may not be able to stay, and then there's someone coming in saying, okay, well, we can help you, but we're going to take over from here. It's more about your pride at that point, because your people still need food. They need water. That's why Gloria went off on her path, which I understood. I just didn't. There's some actions in her path. Not why she did it, why she turned against Michelle, but how she did it was what pissed me off most about her character. And then, you know, so she didn't do it for the right reason. She did it to save her pride and to keep herself in command. And she didn't at least let the people vote on it, because ultimately it's their future, their lives. If they want to gamble with the offshore, they should at least have the choice. But she makes the choice for them, and she sweetens that deal, or at least makes that deal even bitter, by saying, well, anyone who's going to participate in my selection, you no longer can be a part of the offshore. You have to remove your chips, which is a big deal. I feel like people are like closer to my door. I don't usually record in the living room, but I feel like people are like closer to my door. Could be that I'm like off on my ear too. Anyways, back to why Michelle fucked up. Is she tells everyone to take their implants out. Some people are perfectly fine with this, even though everyone's like, are you fucking serious? Like, what do you mean? That's their last connection to the offshore. They're going to be denied so much. Like, I don't even understand how, like, I understand the one dude who's only 18 and he hasn't even went to the process first. Why he would be more nervous about doing it, because now he can never do the process if he does not have his chip. Everyone else been fucking eliminated, right? Or they never went. Or they didn't make it. So what is the benefit of the implant? And I don't feel like they really explained that to me. So either I missed it or that's another one of their gaps. So everyone does take their shit out. It's really sad though, because Marco has a son, and again, that's another one who it was a tougher decision to make, because you're taking away a choice from them that they didn't get to make. And your kid growing up at 16, 17, wondering why he can't get to the offshore, at least have his chance to get to the offshore, and then find out your father took it away from you. And then to add insult to injury, that could not have been an option. And that's again where Michelle fucked up and went wrong, and why it became more about her pride than it did about her people. So from this point, she starts making up the tests, and she's not bad at creating tests. I think even Joanna says, a great test, Michelle. Because at first, you're like, wait till she acts during this process, because she tells that to her boo thing that she meets, and says that you're going to see what kind of person she is. She's not the best of people. That she really is out for really herself. And I do appreciate the fact that she took some effort to try to teach them a lesson. Like, I feel like in the beginning it was an easy thing, because she could pit her best people against each other and try to teach them a lesson in the process. And I think the first test was with Marco, Raphael, and her, right? And she is tied to a chair with her hands bound. Raphael is blind, and then Marco is deaf. So they all have to work together, and because she turns around and she's like, the only thing you have to do is open the door. And she turns around to open the door, but she can't reach it, because I love how she goes into her selfish mode. And here's Raphael like, Joanna, Marco, Joanna, like, Joanna, I heard your ass, you're scraping on that floor. I'm gonna keep saying your name. I'm still shipping them. I don't give a fuck about who they love and their respective others. There's enough sexual leniency in this show that, you know what, they could just be a quadruplet. I don't care. I'm still shipping the fuck out of them. I love Raphael and Joanna. I think they make the best relationship. But they end up working together to get them out of the room. And she, I love how that if someone else is crippled by something, you can't just abandon them. You have to find a way to work together, because you still can use them for the skill that they have. It's a really good first process. That's why I think I like that episode the most. Or was this the next episode? I'm not sure, but it was a really good test. I really enjoyed their test. I'm glad that we didn't need to see everybody's test. And I'm glad that she tried to make a point of pointing out things to them. But in the meantime, as she's going through all of these tests, people are starting to get mad. They're starting to be eliminated. They're not taking other people seriously. She's trying to think that all I'm trying to do is get rid of the people that we cannot feed, so that we can have the enough energy and resources to build what we need to build to put us back in the tip-top shape, and then you can come back. But she finds out at some point right after the first elimination that people are going back to the inland, and they're getting beat up because they went to the shell. And she sends Eliza out to help the person. She's like, these used to be your neighbors. You can't just say fuck them now. But you could see how that us versus them, that it's not an easy thing to take out of society, especially when it's been bred into you for so long. And you see Joanna, who's doing well at these tests, and Raphael, strangely enough, that are doing really well at. Oh, I think I skipped a part too. I forgot the only reason why because first she said no to the selection, but the only reason why she said yes to the selection because apparently her idiot clown friend was on duty and Gardroni tricked him into going into someone hijacked the drone, whatever, tricked him. At first, I'm not even kidding, I thought Marco was behind all this shit. I'm not even gonna lie, the whole 7 episodes I was waiting for the other shoe to drop that Marco was behind the person that stole all the food. But that clearly was not the case. He really did turn his back on his militia, and it was just a group of people that came in, stole all the food, and then ran off to the inland, which is fucked up. And so that's what pretty much made the selection a not a possibility or something she could even think about. She had to do it. So then as we're getting closer into this, we get another character. What's his name? I don't know what his name is. Octavio or something like that. He's booing up all over Eliza because, is it Eliza? I keep feel like I'm saying her name wrong, but whatever. Eliza. But he is, oh no, it says Elisa. So she is Raphael's girlfriend, but she has split from him because of course he's a liar. And her old boo thing is all up on her in this process, and he got cut the first time, and he thinks that he could pass the selection the first time or the second time anyway, and impress her so that he can win her love, even though she does not seem whatsoever like she's feeling it. And then this is another little bit of a issue with Elisa when we get to her character. Anyway, his test does not go well, and as far as Michelle's character is concerned, he puts a knife to her throat. And they're talking him down, but it does not work because of fucking Raphael, because men always fuck up shit. And he ends up slitting her throat and then committing suicide by jumping off a balcony. And we have this moment between Joanna and Michelle, because Alyssa has to, I'm going to keep saying Eliza. She has to run off and get her medical kit because apparently she's the only person that can use all that shit, I guess. I don't know. And I didn't think it was a severe cut. The way they filmed it, it did not seem like it was like he even cut her deep until I saw all that damn blood. I was like, oh shit, he really did cut the shit out of her. And we have this good moment where Michelle looks at her and Michelle anyway looks at Joanna and says, well, if I die, you could take over the shell. It's what you wanted anyway. I know that's what you always wanted. And you see this moment where Joanna is like looking at her, thinking about it, takes her hand off of her bleeding, basically because she has to keep pressure there so she doesn't bleed out. And she chooses for a second not to hold the pressure. And then she says, she's like, you deserve that, but I'm not you. Like, I'm not willing to kill or step on someone to get what I want. Even if I want it, even if I feel like I'm the best one for the job, I'm not really willing to undermine you to do that. And I thought that was just such a beautiful statement for Joanna's character and why I love her so much and why she deserves all of the world. I don't know when she decided. Again, I don't think I can't even say there's a decide. No, because she had sex with a guy in the first season, and then now she's in love with a woman. So I think the sexual fluidity in the show, I appreciate that people need to announce what they are. It's like, I'm feeling what I'm feeling, whatever day of the week I'm feeling it. And I'm okay with that, because that just gives me more hope for her and Raphael. So from that moment, though, you would think Michelle would just pass that bitch through with flying colors. I think even Joanna's boo thing, which I forgot her name too, maybe I can find it eventually, tells her about Natalia. Is it Natalia? I think that's her name. And she says that she should get through, but there's this test that Michelle makes that kind of sets up both Joanna and Natalia to get kicked out, because they have to base 3 people in a room, and they have to base their decision on what is a good what do you say, idealism for the person that would stay at the shell. And someone who should be kicked out is someone who's a murderer. And they think they're choosing for the other room. And I think the other one said whoever's the youngest. And because they want Arthur and Marcos out, except it's a trick. She says, no, it's actually for the other person in the other room. And Natalia and Joanna are kicked out, and just as they're leaving, Michelle's trying to be like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I did not, you know, I had to be impartial, I had to be fair. And my thing is, and I love the way when she said this, Joanna was like, you know, at least when Ezekiel did his shit, he never pretended it was for some type of higher than art thou shit. You be on that bullshit, and you do what you do for why you want it to be done. I think that Joanna is too much of a threat to her, and she did not want her around. The fact that she also saved her life, that she was also able to talk down Octavio when no one else could, her and Natalia, and that whole situation happened. And so she got rid of the two people that were in that room and really knew what happened, and really actually owned the situation, controlled it. And so she's saying that she's impartial, but it's bullshit. It's absolute and utter bullshit, because even after that, Natalia was like, you know what, you're right, we should destroy the offshore, because there, when we get to Joanna, we'll get more into what she wanted to do. And Michelle took the chance after she saved her life to say, unfortunately, you know, thank you for saving my life, but you're too much of a threat to my power here. And I truly believe that's why she kicked her out. Like you all of a sudden, you chose their answers, and then you say, oh, trick, it's for the other person in the other room. You could have made that decision at the beginning, or you could have made the decision afterwards. The fact that you didn't say it up front, I feel like she watched how it was going to go down, and then she chose to change what she did accordingly. Then when they're gone, that's when shit gets even worse for her, because she has to finally decide between, I'm just gonna skip, I'm not going through everything, decide between the youngest member that, you know, is in the process, and Gloria. And I'm sorry, Gloria won. That boy did not win. Gloria won, and it's up to her to decide. And she ends up kicking out Gloria, and Gloria calls her out for it, like, you don't want to get rid of him because he's 18 years old, and you don't want to feel guilty for fucking having him take himself out of the process for your fucking selection, and that's the only reason, because this is supposed to be fair. And if it's not fair, then why are we doing it? Because you told me that this was going to be fair, and right now I don't feel like this was fair. So Michelle at that point thinks that everything's going to be good to go, and nothing's going to be, you know, she's done the selection, it's over, now it's time to rebuild. She even comes down like, where is everybody? They're like, bitch, they gone. And again, what was her plan? I don't know. She still didn't have her plan, but whatever. They're going to fix the generator. They're going to do other things. Raphael ends up staying too. And Marco gets kicked out. That's one of the hard decisions that she has to make, because she says, how do I make something that's fair and impartial? And of course, Raphael comes up with the perfect answer. He takes a cap and he busts it. He says blue side is heads and the other side is tails. That's the most impartial way. It's a guessing game. It's the luck of the draw. And she goes with that idea because Marco wants to pick an idea based on who does the most work, who's the best in society. And she's like, yeah, well, that's not impartial. You're just picking you. And it was very true in that. And I think that there's probably a lot of feeling why she wouldn't get rid of Raphael, even though he was not a good person in society there, didn't help, yada, yada, yada. She feels guilty because he was a part of her cause. They were cause agents together, and they did what they were supposed to do for the cause, and she fucked him over. So of course she's not going to kick him out, because, well, not only because he's really smart, and he keeps her on check. Like, I think they're genuinely friends as much as they're not friends. They're really friends. And so from that point on, she thinks it's going to be fine until, whoopsie, all the people she kicked out comes back and wants her ass for blood. And then there's this standoff. They eventually get in. Michelle gets away out of a trap door. And who does she come across in the desert, all looking for some, like, she comes up to Joanna's little bus and like just starts drinking her water, which I don't blame her. If I'm thirsty as hell and I see water, I'm not even thinking rationally. I'm like, I'm so fucking thirsty. Starts drinking her water, and Joanna's like, and then she finds the cloth that was part of the collector, and she says, finders keepers, I found this in the desert. You're not fucking keeping it. And I would say she at least took her licks, and she understood why her licks were being taken. Like, because Joanna's like, well, you can't stay here. Like, because Joanna got shelter and everything. She's like, nah, you can't stay here. And then she just takes it on. Like, okay, I'm going to walk off. Like, I don't deserve, like, she doesn't plead. And that's when I started respecting Michelle. Because, like I said, she acknowledged at that point when it fell apart that she was being a hypocrite. That, like, you wanted this to work so bad, so to the point where you became exactly what you said you would never become, being Ezekiel. You became Ezekiel. I love when every time Joanna would say, hey, Miss Ezekiel. That's exactly who she became. And Joanna's not a heartless bitch, though, and says you can find some shelter at this place. Eventually, though, Joanna finds out that there was sabotage afoot, and she goes to Michelle and says, this is all your fault. You fucked this up. And Michelle tries to say, well, yada yada yada, and then like Joanna ain't taking it. And Michelle does say, you're right. This was my fault. This was my pride. I put that above what could have been, because Joanna had told Gloria about the offer from the offshore, which she had never shared with anyone. And Joanna didn't mean that information to get out as a betrayal of Michelle's confidence. Like, she didn't do it out of malice. She was just like, no, you don't know this shit. But she didn't expect the reaction she expected. She wanted people recruited for the cause so that they can then go after the offshore. She had no intention of going back and attacking Michelle. So, and I love that she even says, like, Michelle says, Michelle tells her, like, hey, I told you that in confidence, and you told Gloria. And she's like, well, no, I told Gloria for not to fuck you over. I told Gloria because I thought she was going to bring people that were eliminated to the cause so we could focus on something else. But at the same time, you don't try to put this shit on me. It fell because of you, because you became what you hated. And she acknowledges that. And then Joanna says, well, as much as I love to savor all that, you didn't fuck this all up by yourself. And they decide to finally team up again, because I really like when they teamed up last season at the end of the season. Like, I thought there was a true, genuine friendship there that was beginning to blossom. And she said that, and then she was betrayed by Michelle. And so they team up once again to try to get the evidence to at least Marco or Gloria about what the offshore has done, that they actually cut the strip so that they could not reel in the collector, so that they would be sabotaged. And they decide to go back and go through the trap door, that they're going to need inside help. So they try to she still has the communicator for Raphael, so they're still in touch with Raphael. And then they're about to get to the door, but they are people are loud as fuck around here. Anyways, they're trying to get in the back trap door, and what happens? Something, like, they try to make a distraction, but it doesn't end up working, and they got to run off. And Michelle actually does the noble thing, sacrifices herself so that Joanna can get in the back door and she could be the distraction, gives her up to the two guards that have been running around. And as Michelle comes back into her own place that she created, everyone hates her and they're yelling her name. And I hate Gloria's look. She's like, time for your judgment. I'm like, bitch, please. Anyways, they put her in because they decided to turn the old pantry room into a prison. They lock her up. She gets her day of judgment against everything that she's done. But she comes through in the end, and she helps them prove the savagery has went down. And to wrap up her story really quickly, because I feel like we've been talking for Michelle for a long ass time, and I really just want the highlights. She ends up saying, I went against you guys once before. Like, they finally make the new cause. Like, they're all on the cause's side this time. They're gonna finally go after the offshore after she realizes she's been fucked over by Marcella, that they never were gonna let her have the shell, that all of that what she did was for a pipe dream. It's for nothing. They were biding their time. They didn't attack them because they were biding their time. And she thought she was smarter, and she was not, and now she's learned her place. So that's Michelle. Then we can move over to Joanna, who we've talked a lot about right now, or at least previously. She comes to the shell in the beginning of the episode. It's her first time there. And you can tell it's been a little bit of time, I'm guessing, between the seasons, because she knew about Fernando dying, but she had a moment of paying her respects. Vanessa Oliveira is so damn beautiful. She really is. And I'm kind of shitty at the fact that every other female in the show has something going on and together. And I feel like they keep putting her in the trashiest outfits with her hair looking the most matted, with just not, like, I'm sorry. And if it wasn't for the fact that every other female character was not looking the same, like, she was in the show, they could have gave her a change of clothes, they could have done something, anything. Like, no one was looking like the inland more than her. But it could be a statement as well to say, this is where I come from. Like, I don't think I'm better than the inland. I'm okay with my roots. I don't need the offshore. That's just not who I am. I'm okay with that statement, but they could have at least done something with her hair. Come on, y'all. Come on. Every female. Lisa was looking good. Gloria was looking good. Michelle got her old little tight outfit on. There really was even Marcella came out looking good. Every female was looking great. And I'm not saying she was looking ugly. I'm just saying she was not as well put together. And I was not appreciating that, because she's just a stunningly beautiful woman. And you can have someone look dirt, like the way they had Michelle looking dirt, and Raphael, even when they had Fernando on, he had his patchwork clothing, but there was, at least for the females, I feel like they put some care into how they were looking, and there's just been like none put into. Like, that scarf was killing me. Her whole outfit was just making me want to just Anyways, she gets to the shell, and she's not about the shell life. She's like, I don't know about this. But at the same time, she starts to get impressed by what they've accomplished. But she also knows that it's based on bullshit, and that it's pretty much being run by someone who's, a little egotistical and full of themselves, and has ties to the offshore and her brother, and too much deep into the shit. Like, she acts like she was was birthed of, I think Raphael says that she thinks she's the third co-founder. And then I love her interaction when she kicks Raphael in the garden, because we find out Raphael has just basically been a drunk for since last season. Since he got caught by the offshore, he has been a straight up drunk, doing nothing. And she kicks his ass, and his look when he sees her, and she's like, I never thought I'd see you like this, being a drunk. And he's like, I didn't think I'd ever see your ass again. And the one dude's like, you know each other? I need to know all of these deets, because I need to gossip later. But from that point, she is there when the storm happens, and she is kind of paired up with Natalia. Or is it Natalie? I don't know. I want to say, no, it's Natalia. And they make a little cute couple. Like, I didn't see the chemistry really, but I'm okay with it. And Joanna needs somebody. She needs some love too. And then since they clearly don't want to give her Raphael, I don't understand why, but they have little, where she's asking her a bunch of questions, but Joanna never answers. But Joanna does tell a little story, a little peek into her life about, well, she does also say the last time, I trust people, usually things go wrong or they betray me. So she's not big on the trust thing, but she does say, as they're working on this grid, that there was this little girl, a friend of hers, that used to play this certain game where it would land on either a wish or whatever, like you have to make a wish, and everyone always say the process. And one day little girl decided to say what she really meant, which was she wanted to meet her mama. And then lo and behold, her mama shows up and she's hugging her, but all the kids are laughing because they're like, and she doesn't know why, but it's a prostitute that they paid or like a homeless woman they paid to pretend to be her mother. So we know that from last season that she has no idea who she is. She doesn't know her name. Joanna is something she picked for herself. She doesn't know where she come from. She's literally a nobody, which means that she's somebody. I thought maybe and it's still possible that she's probably actually the great granddaughter of the co-founder fathers, because we got a lot of insight. Just to briefly go over that, the founding three, when it became founding two, their society still, function after that point, and they had a daughter, a beautiful black baby. They look light as fuck, but their daughter is straight up black, but she's got the afro and everything. She very much reminds you of Joanna. She's very strong, and the mom says, you've always taught me to take care of others, to take care of the other kids. You can see where that whole idealism comes from. And the council meeting happens, and this is the point where they start making decisions about baby making. That if everyone here has to be sterilized, one of the council members are like, what do you mean? I haven't had a chance to have my kids yet, and you guys got a fucking 10-year-old daughter. You can't fucking tell me to sterilize myself and everyone else who comes over here to try to keep the the population down, or to something sufficient, when you guys have a child. And it comes up where the lady, she plays right into their hands. She's like, you know what, they're right, we should sterilize ourselves, but everyone who is here has to earn it, and that includes the founding couple's daughter, which of course, you taught her to be good. You're coming from the founding couple, so they actually have to release their daughter to the inland. And I love the daughter. Immediately she's just like, I understand, all the other kids the parents have already told them, you're like the last parents that told me. So they really love their baby, even though it's really fucked up that you could see how they have disconnected their brains from what's going on in the inland. Because one of these, they're watching the process, and this one person's like freaking the fuck out, and they're just like holding their baby, cooing over her. But they do love their child, and so it's really hard for them to let her go, but she's very okay with it. She says she wants, that's the episode Duck, where she's like, I just want to say goodbye to the ducks. And they take it in stride, and she knows she's going to be strong. And so all these time, whatever 8-9 years it takes for their daughter to get to the process, they've been making the process so hard that they've been building it up, thinking that their child is going to come in and she's going to excel at this, because of course she's going to excel at this. She's our child. Not only that, she's worthy. She has the bloodline to be worthy. I love how it kind of sort of mimicked the Marco story about how they, just because you came from the bloodline and you're so successful that just because you've gotten success, you've put yourself up there, but you've kind of done what you needed to do to get there. And they had this huge expectation for their child to be so good, that she's going to be so smart and so bright and so good, and this is the hardest one you've done yet, man, dear. And they see their daughter coming to the process. She's much older. She definitely has the little thing in her hair like she always did, and as she's doing the cube test, the first test, the one that Joanna finished in less than 5 seconds, which I thought was spectacular to see that done again, and to see that, I really want to just go back and binge watch all of the seasons now, just to see some of the things that happened in the first or second season, particularly the first season, when I feel like it was the strongest. And you see Joanna take that test, and you see her fail this test miserably, terribly miserably. And she's the first one out, which is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, is to get in the process and be cut first. And one of the people allow her to speak to her parents. And right after that, I don't even know why they had this conversation, because then right afterwards, she's like, well, what do you want me to do? They're going to come. And the parents have to make the decision to say, unfortunately, escort the candidate out of the building. They're so happy to see her, but unfortunately they cannot be with her. And I love the daughter's reaction at this, because one, she goes, how do you expect us to pass a test like this with the lives that we've lived? Like, what? we don't have no time to be sitting here fucking with puzzles all day. You don't even understand what we go through. And I love that we don't understand what, that even they put their child out there who was given everything, and she survives out there. However, she's no longer, she's street smart, but she's not that type of what the offshore is looking for, quote unquote, these tests. And then she leaves and she throws down her little thing, and I love the announcement comes on and it says, and to what helps you is to have more babies. And she says, fuck yeah. So she's about to go out and fuck everybody and have as many babies as humanly possible. And she's so done with the process and everything that she's ever been told, like it's all a fucking lie. And she starts the cause. That is the most awesome beginning of a story ever. I thought that was one of the strongest parts of this season as well, is watching that whole story unfold, and that she started the cause with the orphans that she used to take care of, kind of like she took care of the kids at the offshore, and she raised them up to be able to overthrow the offshore. That's like, and the fact that Joanna is now the leader of the cause, man, she better be Joanna's great grandmama. I don't think she's her mama. I don't know. Maybe she is still alive and that really is her mama. I don't know how long the offshore has supposed to have been around for. I wish, that's a good question. I don't know if this is decades or if it's just like, because if it's like 20 or even 30 years, she was only 18. So even if this has been around for 50 years, she'd still only be in her late 60s. So it's very possible that she's alive somewhere. And like what? These all kids are all like 22, 23. So yeah, no, it's very possible that she's alive somewhere. I hope she is, actually. That'd be really, because my backup would be, and only because she's black, is that Nair would be her mama. But I don't know about that. I think it would be much better, and I think it has, the seeds have led up to it being Joanna that is one of the founding fathers' children, or founding couple's children. So, and it was this betrayal of the parent and the child that led up to the cause and its destruction. There's just something very poetic about that. Moving on. So from that point, Joanna wants to, she's doing the process, because it don't matter to her if she wins or loses. I think in the end she was starting to get attached to the shell, because she even said one of the tests was truth or lie, and they said someone here doesn't believe in the shell, because all they have to do is say I believe in the shell into a thing, and if anyone's lying and not telling the particular truth, then they're kicked out. So this is how Octavio got kicked out, because he was going hard for her, talking about she's not really want to be here, she's with the cause, yada yada yada. And I love how quick-witted that Joanna is, because it's not that she's saying I believe in the shell or I believe in Michelle, but she says I believe in this shell, and they end up passing the test, and she does anyway. And Octavio gets kicked out because it doesn't matter if people have their uncertainties. You should question. You should just never blindly follow anything, or that's why you're going to be on the offshore. And so it's okay that she has very little interest, or if she's not completely on the side of me or the shell. It's whether or not she believes that her being here matters, and it does. It begins to matter to her, because she's building up that rapport and relationship. Even though at the first, she gets with Natalia and she tells her get all the people that was in the cause, because in the beginning all her cause people left her for the show. It's like, we ain't got nobody around, people hate the cause, we're gonna go chill out in the shell and then we can regroup later. So this is her moment of regrouping. I'm not sure how long it was after that conversation that she made it up. It can't be that long. And she gets up there, and like I said, she has this conversation with Rafael later where she says, well, after Fernando, and I love this, my second favorite conversation, or one of my favorite conversations of the series in series 3, is when she kind of sort of asks him to be her second in command. And he's like, oh, hold on, what the fuck you mean? Like, oh, you think we friends? Like, because they never really acknowledge that they're friendly. But because I love, though, that they resolved their last conversation. Like, last time I checked, I was a fuck up and a piece of shit. And she says, well, you know, I was angry and frustrated, and well, fuck it. I'm sorry. I was not nice. And he's like, but you were being, and he says, an asshole. And I love how they just apologize without apologizing, because they're two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. You know, he's very egocentric, very selfish, but he does try to do the right thing when he can. He really cares about the people around him, even though he is very selfish. So he understands doing what you need to do to get ahead, but there's a line for him that I feel like is not there for Michelle in a lot of ways, or wasn't there for Michelle in a lot of ways, that is there for, you know, they're willing to screw over someone that they don't know, but when it's family, they're not gonna fuck over family. And when we get to Raphael's story, you can see how far he'll go in that. And so, but you also see that he's still struggling with his selfish ass tendencies. Which I don't even know how I feel about that. We'll talk about that scene in a little bit. But I love that their camaraderie, and she asked about Michelle, like, oh, so how's Michelle doing? He's like, you know, she still thinks she's all that in a bag of chips. And that she doesn't realize people are people, and she's still in this idealistic world and thinks that she's gonna bring everybody to the promised land, and it's bullshit. And so after that, she calls a calls meeting. And I love when everyone's there. It's like 7 people, and they're all in the generator room. And he's, and then the time goes, I think we're waiting on one more person. And then walks Raphael, and she's like, this bitch. But he does show up. And she lets them know what she wants to do. That she wants to take the technology that they use for the drive, or whatever that thing is called, and because she finds out earlier from some other person, because she's been going around just talking to folks, that the offshore, in a sense, destroyed the power plant to the inland, and that's the reason why the inland is such shit. And that same technology is actually over in the offshore, and that if we use their technology against them, we can destroy the offshore, and then we could try to finally build up the inland, because that's what she wants more than anything. Like, yeah, the shell's great, but it's another offshore, like another sandstorm and another fuck up, and it's done, right? You can see how easily you could build something up, and how it's really hard. There's no military there. You know, you got to protect something like that. And while the shell is beautiful, it was also kind of sort of a pipe dream. And so, I mean, they end up rebuilding at the end, but it becomes their base camp for the cause for the most part. And it's not to say that it won't be a building for the future, but they can't fit at, like, her goal has always been to fix the inland. Like, there's more people. Yeah, we can bring all the people here, but there's only so many people. Like, you could say everyone is welcome, but you're going to have a capacity. A lot of people are not going, though, to the shell because it's against the offshore, and that's not something a lot of people are willing to do. But they want the offshore to no longer exist, so that maybe people will stop focusing on trying to get there and focus on making where they're at, because it's really, really shitty down there. Like, they were running through planes and shit, and you could tell, like, I actually just coming back from Jamaica, it actually really made me sad. Because as I was going to my resort, the first thing I saw was all these kind of like shanty towns, where it's like whatever leftover metal or the deconstructed home, people were making homes out of. And so poverty, when we say poverty, you know, we're sleeping on the streets, it's terrible, you know, but there's like shelters and stuff like that. When you go to like Jamaica, there's not a lot of welfare or shelter. It's like you have to make the best out of what you have. So maybe that's the benefit, like the offshore still supplies things to maybe that is it. Like, as long as you guys keep the chip in and that you keep sending us your children for the offshore, then we'll keep at least the bare minimum for you guys. Like, because there is food that comes in, probably just not a lot of food, right? And there's water that comes in, just not a lot. Like, everybody can't afford or can get what they need. Like that, I don't know. Again, that's just me speculating on that. So back to Joanna. She's trying to use that technology to destroy the offshore. And I love Raphael's response. He's like, I'm too old for this shit. She's like, bitch, you 22. It reminds me again, though, how young these kids are. They're really kids. They're not, they've been through so much, but they're not that old. They're just like, they've been told their lives are over at like 22. And he's 22. I think Joanna doesn't know her age. And Michelle is actually, I think, 18. And so is everyone else. Yeah, like everyone else is either 18, 19, or around that area. And I think that Raphael is the oldest because he failed. His name's not even Raphael. We found out his name's Tiago. Because he failed the process and he just stole his brother's chips. So he's way older than everyone else. But I love that he takes that moment because he's the oldest one to say, I don't fucking... I'm too old for this shit. But you old at 22. It's so cute. But they've been through so much. Yeah, I can't even imagine someone who's 68. Shit, like that life experience ain't no joke. So after her failed attempt to regroup the cause, that's when she leans into the shell a little bit more, invests in it, and then has that whole thing with Octavio after he gets eliminated. Because she says something when he gets booted out, like, oh, well, you spend all this time blaming me, you should blame Michelle. And that's exactly who he takes his anger off on. Of course, Joanna didn't know he was going to go and put a scalpel to her throat. And as soon as he does, he tells her, they're having a standoff, but it's Joanna who's putting him down. Like, no, you don't want to do this. I've killed someone before. You don't want to live with that. That guilt, you can't get away from that. I understand what you're feeling. I understand where you're coming from. I get it. And she's able to very successfully talk him down because he was handing that knife over until Raphael's dumbass come running around the corner talking about he got to do something, but effectually did nothing except escalate the situation, up the anger that he's feeling, because that's the last person he wants to see is the woman boyfriend that he loves more than anything else, and he kills himself. And I already discussed the one scene where Michelle and Joanna had their moment. She gets kicked out because she wants to get rid of Marco because she's not comfortable with him there. And of course she's not comfortable. He tried to kill me. He tried to kill me. He tried to kill Michelle. He's a murderer. And basically, Michelle uses her uneasiness for Marco to turn it against her and kick her out. So her and Natalie kind of go back to the inland. However, they are being hunted by the offshore agents. I forgot what they're called, but they can't stay in the inland because they're wanted. Particularly Joanna, she's definitely wanted, but because she's the leader of the cause, of course. So she has to go to the desert with Natalie, and they're having this conversation. They end up finding the collector. They end up having this lovely conversation atop the bus where it looks like Natalie's going in for that kiss, and Joanna's like, skirt, not today. After she tells her, you're like the only person I know who genuinely cares about each other, because she thinks she takes it upon herself to say, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I always fuck things up, things never go right for me. And she's like, you can't think like that, we can do this together. She's just basically giving her that hand, and she's basically saying, no, I don't want it. And then she says, people are stupid. And so Natalie leaves her, and she says, I'm going to go somewhere where people aren't stupid, because she's basically calling her stupid. And Joanna ends up going back to what she does best, which is isolationism. However, as she is trying to make this little life for herself out in the desert, collecting water successfully, by the way, she runs into Michelle, and she knows about the sabotage, so she can't just let it go. So she ends up joining up with Michelle, and we already went through that scene. She gets into the trap door. She recruits Raphael. They find out that Raphael's the one who sabotaged because Marcella played him for a fool, and we'll get to that when we get to Raphael. And I love when she was kicking him, like, you ain't killing me because deep down that I did not do this. Me. Like, for all I am, for all I'm selfish, the one thing I've consistently been giving up everything for is the cause, is to destroy the offshore. Like, I have no love for them whatsoever. So it all comes off as successful. They're able to take out or get the information. They show Marco, right? Because they end up getting captured, her and Natalie. They ask where Raphael is. They're like, I don't know where he is. And they show Marco the sabotage. And they also show him the tape. They play him the tape of Marcella basically guiding, brainwashing poor Raphael to sabotage the collector. And she thinks that, well, we lost, but it turns out that he gives the recording to Joanna as they get in the way, and tells her, get this out, play it, you're right. And she ends up saving the day. So she has this lovely moment at the end where she comes down and she sits next to her, and I don't know, they were staring out this little window thing. It looked so fake, I could not take it seriously. But they ended up kissing because she says, I'm trying to say I'm sorry here. Because Natalie's like all put off, like, I thought you said people were stupid. She's like, this isn't easy for me. And then they start kissing like a mofo, and I wanted all of that on Raphael, but I'm not bitching about it. I'm just unsatisfied with my other shit. But they make a lot more sense to me than Raphael and Eliza, so we might as well get both of them out of the way. So Raphael's been an alcoholic all this time. Everybody talks about him the whole entire time, like, you're the town drunk. And I love when Joanna says, this is like the process all over again. Everybody hates you. And you know, he doesn't really want to put much effort in anything because his brother sold him out when he was at the offshore. He did not know that Marcella had figured it out already and had brainwashed him to be an double agent for her to use when she needed to use him, and replayed the scene all over again as if her brother just came in, and then he ran off with Eliza. Eliza is not happy about this, but decides to stay at the Shell to become the town doctor. She kind of becomes like a second in command for Michelle. So Raphael has been, him and his wife are not talking, but he really wants to get back in his spot. And he spends most of the season trying to do that. I mean, and he's trying to look out for his brother Arthur. Because Arthur, now this is the thing that pissed me off. He did not want to be a part of the process. Now, he went back home, and that's why I didn't really like Arthur either. I really did not like him. I think I hated him more than Gloria. He left because once Eliza went her separate way, and he didn't follow her to the Shell. He went back home just to get some food and stuff, and then his brother ended up leaving and following him, saying anything's better than being with mom. I don't want to be with mom. You know what it's like. And I like Raphael's like, bitch, I can't take care of myself. What do you mean? I'm not trying to take care of you. And he begs him to take him with him. So he ends up going to the Shell because he's trying to protect his brother or keep him safe. And his brother does not want to do the selection. I would have let his ass go home. Because he's like, well, I can't go with you because I'm wanted by the offshore police. So I have to stay hidden. I have to do this selection thing. There's no other option for me. But then he convinces his brother to stay. And I'm not sure why. This is the selfish part of Raphael, where I was not fully understanding why he was convincing his brother to stay, when his brother was like, I really don't. Like, all you do is bitch about this place anyway. And if he did not want to get rid of his implant, then he should have just let him go. That was the part of the story that was really stupid. And the reason why I actually did not mind his betrayal. But at the same time, no, I think I'm wrong. Maybe it was Raphael I was kind of hating on this. Yeah, I think it was Raphael that I was hating on this season. Maybe I was still saying it the wrong name all this time because it's all coming back to me. No, it was Raphael's selfish ass that kept his brother there. Didn't need to keep his brother there. He could have just went back home. He had a home. He could have just went back and said, you know what, mom, I got caught up. I still could pass the process. Let me back in. And I'm pretty sure she would have let her son back in. Even if she didn't, he could have tried to make his way back on the streets. I don't know. Maybe he could not come back home. And this was his best way of protecting him. But he didn't want to be there. He did not want to give his implant up. And the brother stupidly took his implant and instead of keeping it in his hand, inserted it in his arm. And his arm ended up getting infected to the point where he's like pretty much about to get sepsis and die. And he runs off and tells Eliza, even though he begged him not to do that. Which, I'm like, how you gonna be... Yeah, I think all the three of them were just pissing me off. Because then I'm like, why Arturo? you didn't want him to tell anybody, but you just wanted to die with the implant in your arm? Like, what? Like, I feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place here. I don't know what he could have done differently. It was remove it or die. Like, that's not two options you could be like, oh, okay, like, why did you betray me? It's like, dude, you were dying. Like, at that point, I'd rather not see my brother die versus protecting you wanting. If that's the case, then let me get you to the inland. Like, again, that's the part where I was like, okay, Raphael, you're being really selfish right now, because you could sacrifice. You were in the inland, even though you were hunted. You're not dumb. You at least could have got that boy down to the goddamn on inland so that he can be somewhere safe, and then you could try to make it. I don't know. It just felt like too contrived for me. And like I said, in the beginning, I would have said if he didn't want to do it and it wasn't his choice, I would have said, okay, fine, bye. Like, go back home or go make your way out in the world. You could not make that choice for him, and that's all he seemed to keep doing. So while he was wrong for keeping him there, it was also stupid for Artur to think that his brother was not gonna save his life. And then fucking Eliza. I did not like her character one bit. Like, I get it, she was comfortable, but then when you saw her time in the process, you're like, okay, she really wanted comfort above everything else. I get it. People are selfish. She did something selfish, and she sacrificed someone she loved for it. Okay, great. But you already made the choice. You already in the offshore. You left the offshore. You missed the offshore so much to the point that you call Andre and tell him, and he dogs your life out. Oh, like, oh, now you want to come back? Dude, I feel like she didn't even say what she needed to say. Like, she kept saying, well, this was a mistake. I'm innocent. She could have explained it 10 times better. I don't know. I really don't know. And I know Marcella knows that she didn't know anything about it, right? So this is the part where I said the plot really was not gelling for me, particularly around these three people. I really did not get it. I didn't even get really Marcella and Andre. But then you get to this point but Eliza has been dogging the shit. I mean, she's letting a man kiss all over her. Every time Raphael approaches her, she tells him that basically, move on, ain't nothing for you here. Then she just does like a flip 180 all of a sudden. Like, I get it, he was like stealing things to try to help his brother, and that's why she's like, well, you always lie to me, yada yada yada. And then he felt the need to tell her the truth because he was being more selfish. He's like, well, maybe if I tell her the truth this one time, she'll let me get back in them jeans. And I was like, but at the same time, he could not have been thinking, no, you don't need medical attention either. So it was kind of like two-way. Even if he was thinking that, like, if I tell her the truth, I'm gonna get in her jeans, I think he still ultimately wanted to help him. He could have stole the drugs though. Or he was trying to steal the drugs at first, but he was making all that damn noise. And apparently that one chick that was in there was like, yeah, who told her to take care of herself? And maybe that's what her lesson was. Why Michelle made her do that process and then have everybody dog the shit out of her. Like, you ain't nobody. It was because she knew she made that phone call to Andre. But whatever. Whatever. I could not care too much less about Eliza. Just because she was saying some really deep, hurtful shit to Raphael. Like, I know he fucked you over and he lied and he screwed up your life, I guess, if you felt that way. But if you were to feel that way, keep her consistently that way, because I felt there was nothing to be earned for the fact that she would change her mind. Even when Octavio died, she really was like, there's nothing left for me here. And then all of a sudden, when Raphael had to go on the run again, she even says, he's like, they'll take you back and wipe your mind. And she's like, yeah, some things are better left, forgotten. And then I'm like, well, damn. And so I understand her thing of like, they asked her like, where's Raphael? But she wouldn't give Raphael up. I get protecting him because yes, for what we had, but everything in the present told me that I don't have any love for you right now. Like, she even said that, like, our love was gone a long time ago. But then all of a sudden you looking deeply into his eyes like, I'm never gonna do that again. What? Like, when did that happen? Like, there was no build up to that whatsoever. I felt that was an epic fail. That's why I really wasn't behind the relationship. And I really, I didn't hate Eliza last season. I actually thought she was pretty cool. This season, I felt her to be too all over the place for me to even put an opinion down other than just dissatisfied and not really feeling the character. She did help in the end, and now I guess she's part of the council. And okay, but again, I don't feel like she earned that. I just don't. That story didn't work for me. Raphael, however, has done his best to try to, you know, still has his ways, because he's like, well, I'll just get Eliza to do it, because he broke his leg trying to get away. And I do like that instead of him trying to have Michelle wait from him, he makes the sacrifice too. Like, get the fuck out of here. And they had that cute moment with him and Michelle where they hugged when she thought she was gonna kill all the people out there. Now that was another underwhelming thing that happened in the whole entire episode, where I was like, I wish this had not even happened, because I was really waiting for this shit to go down. I was like, Michelle about to kill folks, this is about to be good, because that's ultimately when you're gonna learn that lesson. And she did learn it, because she did pull the lever. However, Marco didn't die. So, and no one else did either. Even if it was going to be a main character, I would have preferred at least someone dying, or at least that shock was supposed to be way more than it was supposed to be. Because for all the build up and suspense they put in there, it had no real stake in it. Like, it was like womp womp womp. I forgot about that scene too. Michelle does take because when they attack and they're about to bust through the door, she's like, fuck it, I got a security system and it's a shockwave. And apparently Raphael is banging on the door. I'm not even go through his tests, we've already went through most of his tests. At that point, that's when Artur leaves, calls him an asshole, calls him selfish. He does say that he would go to the inland with him, and he's like, fuck off, dude. And he ends up going back into the shell. So we get this scene though after he passes his last process, because he really goes off the deep end at that point. Like, I lost the girl, lost my brother, but he still has enough humanity in him. Like, no, even though they're trying to break in here, we're not going to kill them. Like, that shock that you're about to give them is going to absolutely and utterly kill them. At least that's what maybe he and she believed. But not only that, they showed way too much time watching Gloria make everyone back up behind the line. And then here you got Marco coming through the crowd. And I actually thought, at least, okay, maybe if Marco dies, that would be enough of a stake. But again, it would have been great if Marco died, but he didn't. He like got shocked, and then Michelle's like freaking the fuck out, because she's like, oh, I did it, I pressed the lever. And he's like, bitch, we can think about that another time, we got to get the hell out of here. And that's when he's like, I'll try to get Eliza. He really loves that woman. Shit, why don't he love Joanna like this? Someone who appreciates him for all his selfish and selfish tendencies. She know him so well. But they go out he breaks his leg. He jumps off that one little thing, it breaks it. I said, boy, please. Like, I could see how it happens, but he ain't drunk. The lady was drunk. He breaks his ankle, and he does make the sacrifice to say, you know what, you leave, I'm gonna stay and hide here. And Eliza ends up helping him through all of this, which again, she's like, yeah, and I guess this is supposed to be the turn or whatever. Not earned. Just, I'm not even gonna harp on it anymore. It just was not earned. Then you go to him still with this broken ass foot, hobbling around, getting Eliza to open the trapdoor for Joanna. And they come up with the plan to show them the information, and they're hobbling all around the place, and they get the recording out, and they're successful, and that's how his story kind of goes. Is there anything else I'm missing with that? I don't think too much, other than Raphael and his beautiful eyes are always sexy. He's so fucking short. I love how short he is, and you can tell once he loves, he gives his heart. And I just wish he gave his heart to someone who actually deserved it. I feel like she just thinks she's too good for his ass. I honestly think she does. Like, he made it to the off tour, so you're good. Now I can't go back. Like, I honestly feel like, because they tried to get her back, like, you could come back, but she knew she was gonna get her mind wiped. Like, you could tell someone that I don't know. I just did not feel her transformation whatsoever. Less enthused about Eliza and Arthur coming back. At first he says Eliza, like, he was working with Marco and Gloria. He's like, yeah, he wouldn't leave, he's around here somewhere, we gotta find them, yada yada yada. But it wasn't until they found the proof that the offshore was behind it before everyone put their differences aside and was like, yeah, I'm sorry, but wait a minute, granted, they didn't try to hang anybody, I will say that. There was no hanging, there was no lynching, there was no beating anyone. Even when Michelle came in, the most they were doing was locking her up and yelling at her. and accepting the offshore's help. So I think they were just going to give her over as a prisoner to the offshore, along with Raphael. So they, as far as they're concerned, there's no blood on our hands. All we're doing is giving up the people that these people consider criminals. But it is turning on a friend or a neighbor. But when that neighbor turns on you first, all fair in love and war. So, what else did I need to touch? Oh, Marco and his son. Now that's another character that really shot up for me. Like, I honestly felt like Marco became kind of sort of became the second favorite character of the season. And in the show as well, because I love that moment where it went the full circle of him being the complete and utter selfish asshole, him thinking he's entitled. Like, I feel like he's actually had the best character arc, with the exception of Joanna, because you see them come from this place of really deep-seated selfishness and whatever they need. You know, Joanna joined the process just because she's trying to run away from murder, or what she perceived to be murder. She didn't murder the kid. She was robbing the house, and she didn't mean to kill the kid, but she killed the kid. And that is like a stain on her soul. So she joined the process believing that she's just the worst of humanity and she has nothing to offer, and discovers she does have something to offer. Whereas you have Marco, who joins the process thinking he's gonna win it because he's an Alvarez. He kept telling everybody he's an Alvarez too. That's why I was really waiting for the other shoe to drop on Marco. I was so surprised. But I think looking back on it, it wasn't a sign of pride. It was kind of like a sign of, you know, hey, I thought I was, you know, the shit too. But look at where I am. I'm working. I'm crippled, but I'm working. I'm a part of this community. I could take over. He even leaves his militia. He takes his son from the Alvarez home because he does not want him to become what he became, like the person he became, the type of person he became, you know, because even when he joined the militia, he was not a good person and he was treated like shit, and he really saw, you know, he had to kill and really destroy to get his spot in the militia. And even when he got that spot, you know, he tried to kill Joanna out of revenge. But then I think at some point in time when he had this kid, because I don't think he had a kid last time, right? Or he did, but she went to the offshore and the kid was left behind, that he really had a humbling, right? And that humbling said, you know what, I'm not going to have my kid turn into what I became. I'm going to try to at least build a better life for him. And the shell offers that. So he ends up taking his kid to the shell, and, you know, you can tell he really cares about his child, that he wants the best for him. Him and Gloria have this little romance. I guess I can toss her in this too. Not a romance, but they'll definitely be making googly eyes at each other. And she thinks that her and Marco like the found, like, that's why I don't like Gloria, because I feel like she's vainglory. But at the same time, so is Michelle. So, because I feel like the minute he said he was an Alvarez, her eyes lit out like she just met, Bill Gates. Like, she just met a famous person, and ooh, he's been looking eyes at me too. Oh shit, I've been taking care of his son. Oh shit, I'm about to slip into this family and make something more of my. And that's how Gloria, I feel like, has always been. Her character is always wanting more, or to be more than she was born into. And I guess that's not going back to try to understand her character, what she was born into, why would you not want that? But and up until this point, she hadn't been really trying to do anything, so I guess I can let it go. But when she showed her ass, like when she got that information from Marcella, she decided to make a decision and make a deal with Marcella, then went back and told people in the calls what the fuck was going on. So, and that the offshore was going to take over. And did they know the offshore was going to take over? I'm not sure if they knew that part. Like, I think they thought they were going to take back the shell. The offshore was going to help us, and then we were going to get our shell back. Or maybe they did. I can't remember, actually. So, anywho, long story short, between them two, the biggest thing is that Marco decides that he can't support his son after he gets kicked out of the shell. He takes it better than anybody. And even though when he hid that food, and that dude was like literally eyeballing him, and then he was like, who stole my kid's food? I'm like, bitch, how do you not know? Like, you was not hiding that very well whatsoever. That dude was like staring right at you. You should have just put it in your pocket. But I guess he wanted to try to keep it hidden where his son was. It was really sad. And then eventually he had to drop his son back home. And he said, I wrote him a new letter. Like, basically, son, you need to work for what you need in life. You need to be fearless. You need to be strong. You're not entitled to something. A really gallivanting, brave speech to show that he's definitely become a different person. And he walks up to this because they try to recruit him, and at first he has nothing to do with it until his son is starving, and he's like, no, I need to take back this place. And he gets shocked, and Gloria and him take over from there, and they're hunting down Michelle and Raphael to give over to the offshore, right? But I also love when Joanna and Natalia come in. They show him all the proof that they got, that here's the collector, look, it's been cut deliberately. And then they give the recording after they show the footage of Raphael walking his ass down, because Artur was like, your ass did get out of bed that night, and you can tell he got out of bed. He was so fucking loud. And they show the footage showing the voice of Marcella basically telling Raphael to sabotage it. And at first they're like, we're gonna take the tape and we're gonna destroy it, but Marco does not destroy it. He ends up giving it to Joanna to destroy his own mother and take down the shell. And that's exactly what happens, and I love it. And he gets his son back too. I love that he gets his son back. I guess the last part we can talk about is Marcella and Andre. They pretty much been chilling out at the offshore watching the situation unfold until they get their chance. And then the chance gives itself away in the form of this little rebellion. Andre, he just wants to say I told you so to his sister. And then Marcella, at least she has a goal in mind. It seems that she has a father that's on the council. And the father has been of ill health, and it's been deteriorating, particularly since he found out his grandson took his implant out. So she's trying to get the son back to the offshore. I love that the implant's back in the son though, Marco. That's all she wants to do, is to restore the Alvarez name. So this shell is kind of like a stain against the whole entire offshore. The fact that her son is involved is another big thing, and her dad's on the council, making her feel all types of shit like she needs to, because she's totally brainwashed. She ends up getting captured in the end and put into the pantry block cell or whatever, and then she gets a note saying, you have a sister here. Do you mean an actual sister, or do we mean like a sister within the offshore? So there's someone there that could be considered a double agent. It would have to be someone we know, or it could be someone we don't know. If it's someone we don't know, then I'm like, oh, that's just, don't do that. But I really want Aline to come back. Like, now that Marcella has been captured, I want Aline like to be the person that takes over, and then they all just decided to be like, fuck you, offshore. Because I feel like Aline had a dog in this fight, and she never got to get her comeuppance, because she did nothing wrong except try to take over for Ezekiel. And Ezekiel played her. Then all of a sudden, last time we saw, she was getting her mind wiped, getting played out all over the place. It was ridiculous what they did to that woman. So, I don't know who the sister could be, or it could be a setup for the cause, and they're making her believe that someone's passing her information, but it's no one. But I mean, you're gonna need something, because they've now decided to take down the inland or the offshore once and for all. So we definitely need a season 4. I honestly think that they're going to do a season 4. I don't even think when they said they're doing season 3, it was like a huge announcement. It's when this season came out, there was no huge announcement. It was kind of like, oh, the season's coming out. This coming out in June. I was like, fuck, no trailer. Like, trailer comes out like a week before it comes out. So I'm not expecting any type of announcement, but it was really good. I enjoyed it overall. I don't think I'm missing much of anything else other than, I think I said that before, I missed Ezekiel. I don't know. Xavier, that's the stupid boy's name. Xavier, the 18-year-old who never went through the process because his family's cursed. And he was so happy that he passed the selection, even though he really didn't pass. And he's the only dummy that doesn't really realize he didn't pass. But I love how and that was another thing, he switched sides like 20 times. Like, Michelle lied to us? Oh no. Then it came 5 seconds later. It's too much wish-washing. Like, you got to be committed to what you committed, or you got to go. You can't just keep going back and forth. So if you want to send any type of residual feedback, I would love to read it. I would read it on one of my next podcasts, or I'll just do like a really quick, like maybe a feedback, even if it's like 10-15 minutes. Maybe I'll find some stuff that I missed about the show. You can send that to blackgirlcouch@gmail.com. You can find this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean at Black Girl Couch Reviews. My social medias will be below. Tomorrow, I will be doing Swamp Thing. So I know there's another episode of Krypton tonight, so I will do Swamp Thing tomorrow. I most likely will do, since I'm behind on that, Krypton next after that, then Good Omens, and then I think that's, yeah, Swamp Thing, Krypton, Good Omens, and then we'll try to get back on track this weekend. But that's the next 3 in that order coming up. And I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what though. I think those are the 3 though. Those are big 3. All right, so can't wait to get talking next time. Till then, peace.